Welcome to Tattooed Freaks in Business Suits, recorded live in the kitchen of the Personal Touch Career Services in Denver, Colorado. I am your host, Donna Shannon. As a professional career coach, I help people navigate the hiring maze to get the jobs they really love. In addition to working with job seekers one-on-one, I do have a book out there. It's called How to Get a Job Without Going Crazy on Amazon. Today, my guest is Kathleen, I want to make sure I pronounce this right, Quinn Votaw, correct?
Well done.
Yeah, she is the CEO of TalenTrust here in Denver. She's also the author of the book Solving the People Puzzle and an accomplished speaker as well. So we're very lucky to have her.
Well, thank you for inviting me, Donna. I appreciate it.
Sure thing. So our show's purpose is to explore and redefine the world of work, especially as Gen X, millennials, and those to come after seek position of leadership that still allow them to be themselves. Every show, we explore a topic related to business or job searching. And of course, we're going to talk about tattoos.
Yeah, of course.
Of course. Our sponsor is the Personal Touch Career Services, Denver's top-rated career coaching service. We focus on the practical tools for your job search, including resumes, LinkedIn profiles, job search coaching, and ongoing classes. Check out our ridiculously long website, personaltouchcareerservices.com. Once again, that's personaltouchcareerservices.com, or, you can just Google it. So good morning, Kathleen. How are you today?
I am wonderful. Thank you, Donna. Thank you for having me on this beautiful fall morning.
Yes, it's lovely. This is being recorded in September 2018, so if you're listening at some other time, you don't get to enjoy fall in Denver. So, Kathleen, why don't you just tell me a little bit more about yourself and your book?
Okay, so I started my career in the recruitment industry in 1985, and I worked for Kelly Corporation in Hartford and Farmington, Connecticut. And I fell in love with the industry from that very moment. It is an industry where you can learn about almost every other industry and meet with people all over the world and the country and really expand your own intellect and understanding of the business world. So it really was a match made in heaven for me. And I went on, I was in college in 1985, and I worked for Kelly Corporation while I was in college breaks, etc. And then once I left and graduated from college in 1988, I went to work with a company called Danny Roberts and Temployment out of Boston, Massachusetts. That was also another great opportunity for me, grew tremendously with those mentors and leaders. And then that company was ultimately acquired by Olson Corporation. Olson Corporation was out of Melville, New York, and a $4 billion recruitment firm. And that's where my career kind of took off, and I really started growing into leadership positions. And I ultimately worked with them until about 1997. Yes, 1997. And I became, by the time I left, I was vice president over their New England operation, which was quite a few branches and 100 wonderful people. It was a really wonderful time of my life. So in 1997, I was fortunate enough to move on to CDI Corporation, and I ran what they had on the West Coast for one of their divisions. My husband and I left the East Coast and came to beautiful Colorado. We've been here for 20 years.
Wow.
I was with it 20 years, yeah. And then I left that company, CDI Corporation, in 2003 and started TalenTrust. TalenTrust is 15 years old this year.
Oh, I had no idea you'd been around that long.
Yeah, 15 years. And we're really excited about where we are and how much we've grown. I have 22 people on my team who follow me into uncertainty every day. I don't know why, but they do. And they're very dedicated to our customers and building great cultures and making sure that they can grow. So it's been a wonderful journey, and I really appreciate all the people who've helped me get here.
Great. And then your book, Solve the People Puzzle, that was published in 2016, correct?
Yes, it came out in end of January, beginning of February 2016, correct.
And what's the book about?
So the book is a gift to anybody who runs an organization in helping them solve the people puzzle. And people puzzles, if you think about it, are wide and deep. We focus on culture. We focus on really understanding what your employees need and want, which is ever changing, and aligning that with your own personal values and attitudes and beliefs. Because culture, Donna, is the sum total of your values, your attitudes, your beliefs, your traditions, your behaviors. And work is no longer impersonal.
Mm-hmm.
Work is very personal. And the emerging generations, who are amazing kick-butt human beings, want to choose organizations for purpose, for flexibility, for learning, for inspiration. And we have to break down those walls of having employers and employees in adversarial relationships. We have to invite love back into the workplace and talk about what matters to both audiences so we can achieve things together.
Well, that's a great way to put that. And we were talking a little bit about TalenTrust too, that you have a strategic recruitment division. I asked you about you as a recruiter, and you quickly corrected me on that one, that you don't hire recruiters. You require, what was the term again? You hire?
So we hire people who are intellectually curious and want to do things differently in an industry that was established in the 1950s and hasn't really changed very much since. Yeah. So my strategic recruitment division of TalenTrust is led by Stephanie Porter, who is an amazing person. I love her. And she manages about, I'd say 11 people to deliver strategic recruitment to our clients. So we define strategic recruitment as anything you need, any person you need in your organization up and down the org chart. No one person is more important than the other. So the economic model is very consistent regardless of position. And our clients get a process, forgive me for that, our clients get a process of bringing in the right people into the organizations versus just hosting and praying that the right person will come along. Yeah. So it really is very process-oriented. If you think, I think you might have read the book. Mm-hmm. We treat recruitment as a sales process versus an administrative task. So we start with, what's your employment brand? Mm-hmm. Who are you? Who cares? How will they find you? To oversimplify it. Then we work on lead generation for our clients, filling the top of the funnel, if you will allow me the sales methodology, mm-hmm. to get enough people interested in your organization to join you. And then from there begin the screening and the vetting and et cetera. The things that most companies know how to do. They don't know how to do it well, but they know how to do it. And making sure that they have a pipeline so they're not hiring in crisis. Yeah. Hiring in crisis can really kill your culture because you're not taking the time to vet people for their attitudes, traditions, and beliefs.
So hiring in crisis would be like, oh no, I've got an empty seat. I've got nobody answering the phones. I just need a body, just a warm body. You got a pulse, I'm going to hire you. And a lot of times that's what will bite you in the butt, is what you're saying.
Absolutely. There is no, we are not a butts and seats provider. There's lots of firms out there that are butts and seats providers, and they don't really pay attention to culture and values and that alignment with the companies and the candidates. That's not us. You can mm-hmm. work with somebody else. You don't need to work with TalenTrust mm-hmm. in that regard.
So as a CEO, what do you think is the biggest challenge facing employers today?
Well, we're in an inventory crisis, Donna, as I'm mm-hmm. sure you know. 18-year low on unemployment. 87% of CEOs surveyed are actually trying to hire people right now. In manufacturing alone, 5 million jobs are going unfilled. Wow. So we just don't have the inventory. Companies, and they don't have the infrastructure. So you've got an inventory and infrastructure problem. So the inventory problem is we have boomers growing up, and moving on to something else,
Yeah.
re-engaging in the workforce as boomerangs, maybe in consulting positions. And then we just don't have the numbers in the emerging generations, the millennials, the Gen Zs, et cetera, to fill those positions.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have all the technology coming into the workplace too. Mm-hmm. So that's number one. Then number two, companies, middle market and some Fortune 500 companies, believe it or not, don't have the infrastructure to really treat recruitment as a rigorous strategic process. They often treat it as an administrative afterthought, and they tend to delegate it to human resources, which last time I checked, have no sales and marketing skills whatsoever.
I would agree. Coming from HR myself, yep, that was the worst thing I had to learn was how to do sales.
And they, if somebody doesn't like doing something, they're less likely to do it.
Yeah.
So human resources are wonderful people. It's time to stop being mean to them. I mean, I think sometimes corporate America can be mean to our human resources leaders. But also equip them with business partners or that can think bigger and from a sales and marketing perspective to help them with this problem, or bring in the right people with the sales and marketing acumen and the talent acquisition function to empower them to be successful and put a process in place around this very important issue.
Right. And that's one of the things that at TalenTrust y'all do differently. So sometimes even when we work with outside recruiters and as a job coach myself, I warn people, those outside recruiters are salespeople and they're trying to sell you're the meat. But what you're talking about is different because it's looking at the very top. Because even many outside recruiters like that, the whole idea is I'm just going to attract as many candidates as I can and package them up and sell them to the company. And you're not that. You're saying it starts with the branding, it starts with the messaging, a method of attraction rather than promotion. And then you're going to draw the best talent, and then you groom them as well as coaching the company on how to talk to candidates to make sure that the candidates understand what the culture is so that it can really be that good match, correct?
Yes, and it's the power of choice, really understanding cultures from a candidate perspective. They're going to have a lot of choice. If you're any good in the marketplace right now and you have any skill set whatsoever, and you're going to have a lot of choice. So 32% of employees will choose a better culture over more compensation.
That's huge.
And so people want to work with people they like, and they want to do work that's purposeful and meaningful. Mm-hmm. They also want to be treated like adults, and they want work-life flexibility, and they want to be able to pursue other interests if they are interested in that. And that's all okay. It's all okay. But lots of companies are way behind when it comes to that. And they don't know how to integrate these philosophies and methodologies into their organization. That's why we exist. We're the bridge, if you will. Yeah. And our first step with any client is a gap analysis, because everyone wakes up every day. This is a belief of mine, Donna. Mm-hmm. I believe we all wake up every day with the best of intentions to have a good day and be nice to people.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Maybe that's naive of me, but I really don't think many people go out there trying to be awful to people. Mm-hmm. And so what happens is you go through your day and things happen. And so our clients, their intentions are great and they're trying to do the right thing, but they're so close to it, they don't know where the gaps are. Mm-hmm. So our people puzzle gap analysis helps define and diagnose what they're doing really well and where they need to improve. And we help bridge that gap and bring it a little bit closer so they can get their talent acquisition organization really moving in the right direction for the company.
Great.
It's a brave step for companies, Donna, because you really have to look under the hood, and we interview key stakeholders, we survey people, We just did a gap analysis for a client. And, there's some hard learnings. And you have to be willing to address those learnings and make change, because that's the only way you're going to be able to move forward together.
Yep. Yeah. So really what we're talking about here is helping the employers define what their company culture is. Because one thing everybody wants is a good culture, but often they can't define what that means. So
Correct.
I was speaking at a conference in Breckenridge last week, and it was for healthcare administrators, so the people who manage the back office side of like doctors' offices and things like this. And a couple of the gals were talking about the recruitment that they're struggling with, and they said, well, we had a candidate ask us what our company culture was, and we're like, I don't know, I guess we have fun. It can be busy, but they really didn't even have the tools to define what that meant. So
Correct.
You mentioned your gap analysis, and you talked about a few of the things that come into company culture. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Sure. So that first step, the gap analysis, is a diagnosis both for the company and for us to really understand, what their intentions are and what they're doing. So what we do is we go through discovery. That's the first step, getting to know you, really understanding who are the key players. We call them key stakeholders in the organization. And key stakeholders are not exclusively the people who run the organization. Key stakeholders could be somebody working a production line, somebody working the front office for an organization, and they're the ambassador of goodwill when people walk into the organization. So it's not exclusive to the CEO, the CFO, the COO. They should be involved in the conversation highly, but they need to identify key stakeholders who are also doing the work and executing on the mission, vision, and values and where you're trying to go. So we will guide our clients through who they should have in that key stakeholder conversation to get the most value out of the gap analysis. Then the second step is my team goes in and really listens and surveys through survey tools and also key stakeholder one-on-one interviews. What is happening in the organization from a culture and talent acquisition perspective that's really positive, and where do we need to really look at improving things? So, and then they do quite a few other very proprietary, in-depth meetings with the client. And then the result is a report that we walk them through with our findings. We give them a scorecard, Donna, that is partially based on Berson's 4 levels of talent acquisition maturity. And Berson is a division out of Deloitte. And they score companies on a level 1, 2, 3, or 4 of talent acquisition maturity. And most companies, unfortunately, Donna, are at a level 1.
I'm not surprised.
Some are even at a level 0.
Yeah.
So at the end of it, our clients get a actionable report that they can make change in their organization. And it's centered around our products and services, which include engagement, alignment, assessments, behavioral-based interviewing, strategic recruitment. We're resellers of some technology that will enable them to be even better in the work that they're doing, and really cracking the code for these companies and how to build a better system to make sure they have the right people. And it's also about retention, too. So we should be focusing on retention, companies all over the country, every day, because our people are being invited to stray from our cultures constantly. In fact, I think the statistic is about 2/3 of the employees who work for you, if you're an employer listening to this, they're either open to or actively engaged in another conversation for another position.
Yeah.
So it's really important to attack this intellectually and really assess where you are so you can make change.
Sounds great. So one of the things in your book that I saw that you mentioned is this is talking about a different kind of gap. You have a chapter called Don't Mind the Gap, speaking specifically about generational gaps and how things are looked at differently. And you really encourage employers not to overlook candidates because of tattoos, hair colors, and things like this. So why is that?
Because everyone's created equally, and you can't judge a book by its cover, and you never know what people can bring you in their heart and head, and really change your organization. I don't care if you've got tattoos or pierced nose or purple hair, or it doesn't matter. If you can actually if you align with my culture, attitudes, and beliefs, and you have the skills to do the work, those things are very secondary. Mm-hmm. I'll tell you a story if you don't mind.
Sure, go ahead.
A gentleman came to me, and he was 55 years old, and I'll never forget him. He's a great guy, and he really thought he would never get a job again. Mm-hmm. Because he was just too old. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm 52, and I don't think 55 is very old at all. Yeah. And when I met him, it was probably 10 years ago. And he has gone on. We helped one of our clients identify him as the right sales leader for their organization. And he has gone on to work with that organization, another organization. He's now traveling in Europe, working for another organization. And he is vital. He's ready to give. He's ready to serve. He's got skills. And when we look at the inventory crisis that we're in right now, we got to open our filters versus close our filters. Mm-hmm. And, also training is a very important investment for companies right now. I'd rather hire somebody for attitudes, traditions, beliefs, and value alignment and train them.
Yeah, that's what's been the SMART formula for forever. And I think people get overly focused on the skills, because skills you can teach, attitude you can't.
Correct. And but also what happens, Donna, is the reason they focus on the skills is because they're in crisis mode.
Yeah.
They have no system or process. So say Janie leaves, and Janie is your customer service manager. You're playing catch up if you don't have a system in place, and you also don't have transparency with your employees, because people will tell you they're not happy before they resign.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, they're not going to say, Donna, I'm unhappy, I'm going to resign 6 months ahead of time. Now, in the world I live in, I wish everybody would, but it would make life much more simple. And but they give you signs. So your hiring managers, the people who are working with your rank and file, have to be really plugged in to the needs and wants of the people who are working for them. And really have those critical conversations. It doesn't seem like you're happy. It doesn't seem like you're feeling very successful. What can I do to help you thrive in this organization? Is it a good fit? Isn't it a good fit? Don't make assumptions, because you know what happens when we all make assumptions.
Oh, yeah.
I won't say it, but anybody listening can do it to themselves.
Right. And then the other flip side of this thing on judgment based on, age and culture and just even generationals, sometimes millennials are going to be judging towards a company as well based on those same outward appearances. And maybe there's a lot of older workers and there's these stuffy guys in suits, and I don't know if I want to do that because they don't have a ping pong table or something very superficial. So can you give an example on why a job seeker should have a more open mind as well?
Well, there's the good news for job seekers is you are in the driver's seat.
Yeah.
So this is a wonderful time for you with a lot of choice. And one key thing I've told people as I've grown up in this industry, and I've heard from the job seekers is, well, I don't want to go, I don't want to work there because I heard or that they had a bad reputation, or I heard that their workforce was, aging, and not cool or whatever. Guess what? You don't have, choice is powerful. So filling your own funnel with a lot of opportunity and taking every interview so you can actually figure out, does the culture align with you or not? If you're leaving people out of the conversation as a job seeker, shame on you, because you could find a mentor that you never knew you were looking for.
Right. That's a great way to put it. Yeah.
And mentors make you better. And who knows, you might stay with a company for a year or two, or, what if the owners are looking to retire and you become the person who can enable them to retire because they'll train you on how to run their business. You just never know. And so I encourage everyone, choice is powerful. Take the interview, because you can't say no till they want you. And then when they want you and you don't want them, who's in the driver's seat?
Yeah.
Get the offer, worry about it later. Get the offer and really compare the offers from a culture, attitudes, beliefs perspective, and the work that you're going to be doing. We talked about the fact if you're not having fun, you're not going to be your best self. I mean, you got to know you're a coach. People have to do what they love to do, or they're going to fail.
Yeah. And that's one of the things I love to coach people on as well. And I do exercises with them to recognize what are the things that you love in your work, what do you like, what do you live with it, and what do you loathe it. Because, of course, we're grown-ups. We know we're going to have to do some things that we don't enjoy, but the more we can do things we love and like, the more successful we're going to be in our careers.
Yeah, and there's not, I don't love dealing with technology. My husband will tell you that. I hate technology. But it's part of my work. I have to make sure I know how to use a computer and a phone and have them all integrated well enough to be productive. But I'm not going to spend 100% of my time there. So there's, I think you think of it in, I would guide your job seekers. Is that most of your audience, job seekers?
Yep.
Guide the job seekers to think of primary skills you're going to use every day. So primary skills, and then secondary skills. So the primary skills are key, that you actually enjoy those primary things more than not.
Yep, I would totally agree with that. I coached a gentleman once he got a degree in sports marketing. Yeah. So he was really interested in working with some of the big professional teams around here. And I was like, oh, I know this internship that Kroenke Sports does, which is they're the owners of the Nuggets, the Avalanche, and the Mammoth here in Denver. And it was hardcore on the phones, making calls, and whoever was successful moved up into the next range of sales. And he's like, oh yeah, that'd be a great way to get my foot in the door. But I made him do this exercise about what do you love, live with, and loathe, and the things he hated the most were sales and calling people on the phone. I'm like, this is not going to work. You think you're getting a foot in there and you're going to make a good impression, but in truth, you're burning the opportunity, because you're going to get in there, you're going to hate it, you're going to do poorly, and then you kill any other chances in that organization because you've already ruined your reputation with them.
Absolutely. That's really good guidance. And I love your exercise, love, like, and loathe. Everybody write that down. Love, like, and loathe. What do you love, like, and loathe? And do more of what you like and love. I love it.
I do that as a presentation. I'll send you my handouts.
Oh, I'd love to. That's wonderful. Excellent.
All right. So what are some of the mistakes that you see modern job seekers make?
I'm not making sure they fill their top of the funnel. They're like, well, I don't want to work for them, or, they're 15 more minutes away than I want to do. I mean, take the interview. You don't know what you might be walking into, and you might learn. So be open-minded. Also, do the research. I find a lot of job seekers posting and praying that the company they post to will be the right fit for them. We live in an age where you can get information like that. These lovely little things help us find information. Like, you probably Googled me. That's how you found me. And people listening to this right now might be Googling TalenTrust or Kathleen Quinn Votaw. I mean, you can find out a lot of information in a very short period of time. So be educated. Educate yourself in the company you are speaking to, and really ask in-depth questions about culture and values and the customers that they serve. One key question, I don't care if you're going for a sales job, marketing job, operations job, finance job, you name it, whatever function, Ask about the customers.
That's a great point. Yeah.
Who do you serve? What customers do you serve? You will learn more than you know about the company. And far too often people are so myopically focused on the job that they forget to ask those really good questions. So for every interview you go into, have 5 really strong questions about culture, customers, successes, failures, because you're interviewing them too.
Yep, absolutely.
And have the chutzpah to interview and ask some good questions. Because when you ask good questions, you're demonstrating your ability to be a great employee in their company.
Absolutely. So, we're to one of my favorite parts of the show today, actually the tattoo of the day. But Kathleen,
I'm sorry.
You don't have a tattoo.
No, I don't. I don't. Now, I will tell you, I love people with tattoos, and I'm going to tell you a little story about my sister-in-law, Nancy.
Okay.
Nancy in Long Island, if you're listening, I love you. She always wanted a shamrock in a certain area of her persona.
Okay.
That nobody else would be able to see.
Okay.
Now, one evening, we went to try to get a tattoo for her, but we were turned away because we were in an inappropriate state.
So that means you might have been drinking a little bit that day,
just a little. Maybe. And so she's very brave. She now has a tattoo of a dove right here on her
right along the side of her wrist.
Yes, right on her wrist. It's beautiful. And so many people use it as a wonderful expression. I just don't like the pain. Oh my God. Don't make me hurt if I don't need to hurt. But
the endorphins kick in, and then it's awesome.
I know. There's a lot of people. So I'm honored that you would have me, even though I don't have a tattoo.
Oh, that's all right. Because like I said, our show's purpose is all about the world of work in its entirety.
Thank you.
And as the tattoos become a lot more acceptable.
Yes. It's not about your tattoo. I mean, it's not about your tattoo. I mean, that's just a mark. And I love the expression that people have. My brother-in-law has a tattoo of his mother and father who died, and it's extremely meaningful. One of my nephews has a tattoo of honoring both his grandparents, one of which is my dad, and he has a Bible verse and a Celtic cross. And there's so much meaning in many people's tattoos. I don't care if you have a tattoo or a earring in your nose. I mean, if you've got the heart and the head to make a difference in my organization, bring it.
Yeah, I love that attitude. Well, Kathleen, thank you very, very much for your time today. Why don't you just hit us real quick on what's the best way for people to get in touch with you and your company, TalenTrust?
Thank you. So TalenTrust website is spelled TalenTrust.com. And also our phone number is 303-838-3334. So you can find us there. We also have an Instagram account, a Facebook account. You can find us all over social media. And you can also Google me, Kathleen Quinn Votaw. I have a speaker website that you can explore that's tied also to TalenTrust website. And we look forward to helping you find the right fit for you so you can thrive in your careers.
Great. And while we're here in Denver, do you work with companies across the United States?
We do. We work all over the country. I think right now we're working in 15 states at the moment.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Wonderful.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
All right. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for listening. My name is Donna Shannon. My company is Personal Touch Career Services. If you like our show, hit the like button underneath. Leave us some comments, and be sure to follow us on all your favorite podcast platforms. Thank you very much. And until next time, see you later.
Bye-bye, all.